This time, I would like to call to order the March 17th Yukon, Oklahoma City Council meeting. And if you would rise with me, please, for the invocation by Pastor Mike Sparks of Church of Christ South Yukon, and the invocation.
Let's pray together. Father, this evening we come to say thank you for the men and the women who serve on this council and for the work that they do for this city. We thank you for the community that we're able to live and work within. And tonight, Father, we pray a very special prayer that you will bring wisdom to this council. And Father, help them in the decisions that they make this evening. That first, that they bring pleasure to you, and second, that it's best for this community. So bless each one tonight that's here, those who may speak and all who will listen, that you will be lifted up and you will be glorified. Again, thank you for this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Here.
McCarron,
Here.
Alberts,
Here.
Russell,
Here.
Yonda.
Here.
This is our time for presentations and proclamations.
Done this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Having done this evening, this is our visitors section. We have had no one submit to speak before the council this evening. John, I haven't got it, but you're welcome to step forward and address the council.
John Canople, 410 Oak, I'm in Ward 3, I beg your pardon. The Yukon Historical Society would like to invite everybody to the Yukon's 104th birthday at the Ernie Borosic Museum at 3rd and North Birch. And it's the 124th birthday, and it's going to be on March the 28th, and that's the actual date that the city was established, in March the 28th of 1891. And J.M. Ferris was the postmaster, and he had a building right on this spot where the city hall is, and that's when you established the city, when the post office was put in. So this will actually be right on that day. And I'd like to thank Tammy and Dana and Arnold Adams, Jerry Wadetta, and the street gang for the signs. They gave us the 2 centennial signs. Then they gave us the check sign that was west of town, and we're restoring it. And the checks are getting ready for their 50th anniversary, and they'll probably use the check day sign in their 50th anniversary. And I want to thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Do we have anyone else to address the council? Visitor section, having none, we will recess as the Yukon City Council reconvene as the Yukon Municipal Authority. Item 1A is a YMA consent docket. This item is placed on the agenda so the Yukon Municipal Authority, by unanimous consent, can designate those routine items that wish to be approved by one motion. If an item does not meet with the approval of all authority members, that item will be heard in regular order. The city manager recommends a motion to approve A, the minutes of the regular meeting of March 3rd, 2015, and B, payment of material claims in the amount of $30,555.86. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? Having no discussion, call the roll, please.
McCarron,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Alberts.
Yes.
Item 2A is to consider authorizing the city attorney to negotiate a contract with Yukon Chamber of Commerce for the sale of 13,770 square feet of property located 150 feet south of Highway 66 with 125 feet of frontage on the east side of Yukon Parkway. That's 156 South Yukon Parkway, including an easement for access to and maintenance of the city sign. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Do we have any discussion? I would just like to say that if this is approved, I think it's an awesome move for our chamber. They so desperately, or I should say we so desperately need a new location, and that's a perfect spot for them. Do we have any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Yonda.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Alberts.
Yes.
McCarron.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
This time we'll adjourn as a YMA and reconvene as a Yukon City Council. Item 1 is a consent docket. This item is placed on the agenda so the City Council, by unanimous consent, can designate those routine items that wish to be approved by one motion. If an item does not meet with the approval of all council members, that item will be heard in regular order. The city manager recommends a motion that will approve A, the minutes of the regular meeting, March 3rd, 2015, B, payment of material claims in the amount of $430,544.22, C, designating the items on the attached list from the Technology Department as surplus and authorizing their sale, donation, or trade. D, accepting the Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality permit number SL0000009150146 for the construction of approximately 590 feet of 8-inch sewer line and appurtenances to serve the City of Yukon Bounce Academy Gymnasium Sewer Line Extension Project, Canadian County, Oklahoma. And E, setting the date for the next regular council meeting for April 7th, 2015, 7 p.m. in the council chambers of the Centennial Building, 12 South 5th Street. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? Any discussion? Having none, call the roll, please.
Alberts.
Yes.
McCarron.
Yes.
Yonda.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Item 2 is to consider authorizing the city attorney to negotiate a contract with the Yukon Chamber of Commerce for the sale of 13,770 square feet of property located 150 feet south of Highway 66 with 125 feet of frontage on the east side of Yukon Parkway, 156 South Yukon Parkway, including an easement for access to and maintenance of the city sign. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? No discussion, call the roll, please.
Russell.
Yes.
Alberts.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Yonda.
Yes.
McCarron.
Yes.
Item 3 is consider authorizing an expenditure of funds in an amount not to exceed $57,973 for a hydro excavator from Vermeer to be paid from the Water Wastewater Capital Improvement Fund as recommended by the Public Works Director.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? No discussion, call the roll, please.
Smith.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Alberts.
Yes.
McCarron.
Yes.
Yonda.
Yes.
Item 4 is to consider authorizing an expenditure of funds in an amount not to exceed $43,101.15 for repair of 380 square yards of road at the intersection of Cornwell and Diana to be paid from the Streets Capital Improvement Fund as recommended by the Public Works Director. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Did you get that, Mr. Shivers?
I did.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? No discussion, call the roll, please.
McCarron.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Yonda.
Yes.
Alberts.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Item 5 is to consider approving ordinance number 1311, an ordinance which provides an amendment to the Code of Ordinance of the City of Yukon, Oklahoma, by amending Section 1-7 to provide for court cost in the amount of $30 and a fine not to exceed the amount of $200 for a traffic offense unless otherwise allowed by state law and declaring an emergency. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? Having no discussion, call the roll, please.
Yonda.
Yes.
Alberts.
Yes.
McCarron.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Item 5A is to consider approving the emergency clause of ordinance number 1311.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
McCarron,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Alberts.
Yes.
Item 6 is to consider approving ordinance number 1312, an ordinance which provides amendment to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Yukon, Oklahoma by amending certain sections by adding new definitions, clarifying and providing for procedures for municipal court, and providing applicable fines and punishment for violations of the Code of Ordinances and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Russell,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Alberts,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
McCarron,
Yes.
Item 6A is to consider approving the emergency clause of ordinance number 1312.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Do we have any discussion? No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Alberts,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
McCarron,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes. Item 7 is to consider approving ordinance number 1313, an ordinance which provides amendment to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Yukon, Oklahoma by amending certain sections to provide for clarification of violations and assessment of fines and declaring an emergency. Do we have a
So
motion?
moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Russell,
Yes.
Alberts,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
McCarron,
Yes.
Item 7A is to consider approving the emergency clause of ordinance number 1313.
So moved.
Second?
Do we have any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Yonda,
Yes.
McCarron,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Alberts.
Yes.
Item 8 is to consider approving ordinance number 1314, an ordinance which provides amendment to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Yukon, Oklahoma by removing and/or amending certain sections to provide for clarification of violations and assessments of fines and declaring an emergency. Do we have a
So
motion?
moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Having no discussion, call the roll, please.
McCarron,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Alberts,
Yes.
Russell.
Yes.
Item 8A is to consider approving the emergency clause of ordinance number 1314.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Alberts,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
McCarron,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Item 9 is consider approving ordinance number 1315, an ordinance adopting the SMART Code, establishing the SMART Code, district regulations for land use, SMART Code regulations to be mandatory within the urban gateway overlay supplemental district unless specifically exempted or unless contiguously developable land area by ownership does not meet minimum size requirements for the community scale plans. SMART Code regulations to be optional for all remaining development areas within the City of Yukon, repealing conflicting ordinances and resolutions, providing for severability, and declaring an emergency. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion?
I'd just like one of the gentlemen that are here this evening maybe to step forward and help just explain to those people that might be watching, what is a smart code and talk about urban gateway. I'm an adamant supporter of this, so I'd like some information just to provide to the community.
Yeah, so I'm Sam Day. I work for Bootser Gardner Architects, who is hired by the Economic Development Authority to consult on this TIF district. And back in last summer, we did a community survey to kind of see what the community would like to see this TIF district become. And the results we got showed that the community overwhelmingly favored a mixed-use, higher-density, walkable neighborhood type of development rather than a strip mall or mall type of development. So we went back to Yukon's zoning code and found that none of the current zones allowed for that kind of development that the community wanted, and that's why we went ahead and developed this smart code that allows for mixed use, higher densities, and just overall better quality development that looks like more like downtown Yukon development that happened before automobiles took over. Basically, the difference between smart code and conventional zoning code is that smart code puts a much greater emphasis on the regulating the exterior of buildings, controlling where they sit relative to the sidewalks and streets, how many street trees there are, where the parking is relative to the building, whether it has windows, and kind of gives a lot more flexibility to the building owners as far as the interior goes, how they want to use it, whether it be office, retail, or residential. It does control for intensity of uses. You can't build skyscrapers next to single-family houses, but you can build small, private, work-from-home offices next to other single-family houses.
As far,
Go ahead. Sorry.
Mr. Alberts, go
It's your
ahead.
meeting. I didn't mean to. I just
No. We had comment from the other end. Go ahead.
Can you, as far as developers, is that well received? Because it's important that this area out there, is this an impediment, do you see, to development, or is it something that it would encourage development and help with development? What are your thoughts?
I think both and. It encourages the right kind of development and discourages the kind of development we don't want. I think some developers will look at it and say, we can't put the Dollar Tree there anymore in its normal configuration. There's a lot of national chains that will have to kind of adapt their normal configurations. But on the other hand, it also offers a lot more opportunities to developers who are willing to look through this code to, one, it makes their developments more resilient in the market so that they can build whatever is demanded in the market at that moment without getting rezoned. And also, they kind of see the mutual benefits of different types of development being really close to each other, right? So people who want to walk to work, and the greater potential for density, I think, is one of the most appealing things for developers. You can get more bang for your buck in terms of land.
That's my other question was, what are the short-term and long-term benefits both to the community and the developer? I think you covered probably most of those. Are there others that you've not discussed with us?
I think long-term, one of the biggest benefits to the city is purely in terms of infrastructure. You're not paying as much, with greater density of development, you're not paying as much for water, sewer, roads, parking per capita. And the other thing that the city is going to benefit from is traffic and I think retail sales as well. Just that shopping anymore has, shopping in person has become so competitive with shopping online. You really have to offer a enjoyable experience that people can walk to and be entertained as well, rather than just strip malls and shopping malls, which are starting to die out.
At the risk of I'm sorry, Mr. McCarron, but at the risk of oversimplifying this, if this is approved, it reaps benefits to both the developers and the city in respect that the city has input that otherwise they may not have for a multi-use facility, as opposed to going through various rezoning categories. We can approve an overall plat that includes various types of use within the space. Is that correct?
Exactly, right.
Mr. McCarron?
Just curiosity, where's this currently being used right now? Are there any specific developments that you can point to that have been a success, I guess, and or failure?
Yeah, well, this started probably back in Florida with Seaside. I think that was in the 80s, but there's a lot of these developments in Texas that we can point to. I've sent out a list to the planning commission, and I'm sure we can get you copied on that email. But there's a lot of developments in Texas, and there's only one instance of this in Oklahoma, and it's a small area in Tulsa. But
Is that Sepulpa in that area, or is it another?
no, it's in the Pearl District in Tulsa and just south of there. But it's not too much different than the type of zoning you would see in most downtown areas, where there's a lot more liberty in terms of what kind of uses you can build.
If it'll be helpful, Mr. McCarron, we have been provided through the YEDA some various locations. You mentioned some in Texas. We've had some diagrams and layouts of areas where it has been applied
Okay, well,
previously.
I would like to say, I'm
Yeah.
very much for it, because I agree. I heard a comment earlier tonight about driving past Gainesville and seeing the old Gainesville Mall. It's on the north side of town, and it's a ghost town.
Yeah.
And so I think, moving forward, this is probably a pretty wise thing to be looking at, so. Thank you.
Do we have any further discussion? Having no further discussion, call the roll, please.
Alberts,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
McCarron.
Yes.
Item 9A is to consider approving emergency clause of ordinance number 1315.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Russell,
Yes.
Alberts,
Yes.
McCarron,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Item 10 is to consider approving ordinance number 1316, an ordinance providing amendment to the Code of Ordinances of the City of Yukon, Oklahoma by amending Appendix A, zoning ordinance sections 201.1, 401.3, 404.1, and 406.1 to provide for a consistency within City of Yukon Smart Code and enacting new Section 607 and new Section 608, providing for the creation of a new urban gateway overlay supplement district and providing for new zoning designations corresponding to the City of Yukon Smart Code transects, establishing boundaries for the urban gateway overlay supplemental district, providing for severability, and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion?
I just, have a question. I know that we're gonna set areas aside that are gonna be covered just by smart code, and areas that are still gonna be covered by our traditional zoning. I guess I wanna know a
Well,
little bit
there's
more about
there's
that, but,
two ordinances. One ordinance applies the smart code globally to the community. The other ordinance is for the overlay for our TIF district. In the TIF district, the developers will be mandated to use the smart code. Outside the TIF district, then other developers have the option of using it if they so choose. And we've had at least 2 discussions, maybe 3 discussions with developers who are looking at this, that are outside, have property outside the TIF district that are interested in using it. So that's the reason for the 2 ordinances.
okay, well, you don't see any conflict at this point of using them dually?
Well, I hope not. I mean, we'll find out. I don't believe so. I think we've
I
worked
feel
for
like
about
you
5 or
do.
6 months to get this thing right. Hopefully we have, but it is an experiment. But what's your option? Your option is to have a development that looks like the outlet mall.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your option. So hopefully it's. I think it's going to be a real benefit for the community. Thanks.
Thank you, Larry.
Do we have any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
McCarron,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Alberts,
Yes.
Item 10A is to consider approving the emergency clause of ordinance number 1316.
So moved.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Yonda,
Yes.
Alberts,
Yes.
McCarron,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes. Item 11 is to consider approving the Scrivener error correction to the recordation information numbers on the utility easement that serves the Frisco Ridge Phase 2 as recommended by the Development Services Director.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? No discussion? Call the roll, please.
Russell,
Yes.
McCarron,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Alberts,
Yes.
Item 12 is the city manager's report. These are informational items only.
I'd like to start with a compliment for what you just did concerning the smart code and the urban overlay district. First of all, it's the first significant smart code passed in the state of Oklahoma. It governs particularly early on the last piece of commercially developable property within our community, certainly at a reasonable cost. And I think you should take great pride in what you have studied and what you did this evening in doing that, because it will pay benefits to this city for years and years to come. Last month, I reported that we were up, but the results of our sales tax were in fact disappointing. This month, I am happy to report to you that our sales tax was up 12.39% over the same month last year, bringing our year-to-date total to 4.38%. And that is really good news. J.I. and I did a little calculation, and while we had hoped that last month, if everybody had reported on time, which we do not believe they did, that we would have had the first $2 million month of sales tax in the history of Yukon. However, a portion of that from last month is now reported this month. We had a great month, and we certainly appreciate where we are budget-wise for the year. Events report. Taste of Yukon. First of all, the pancake breakfast and the trout fish out was a big success. Lots of people, lots of fish, lots of pancakes, lots of syrup. The whole and real syrup, I might add. It was a great day. But coming up on March the 26th, that is Thursday, March the 26th, from 5:30 to 7:30, you have a chance to go to Taste of Yukon. It's going to be a great event. I encourage you to get there early, only because I don't want you to have to park across the street and walk all the way across Yukon Parkway to get there. It's a great event. Everybody has a great time, and hope that you will go. There will be over 20 local restaurants that will be having a sampling of their food. It's very good. Also, the admission is $10 in advance, $12 for adults on the day of the event. Children 10 and under are $5. So another great event to be at for Yukon. Sanitation notice. We have been and will continue to have a free spring yard cleanup pickup going on through March the 27th. It doesn't matter how many bags you have. Put them at the curb. We're going to come by and pick them up. We're not going to charge anybody. We do ask, however, that the bags weigh less than 50 pounds and that they be that we can pick them up, that people can pick them up and throw them in a truck that we will be driving by. It's going to be a great event. Also, we just this evening, in fact, took a picture to help advertise. On April the 18th, we will host our spring Big Junk and Recycle event at 501 Ash in celebration of Earth Day. It's going to be another big event, we hope. It's a great way to help clean up the community and to start that spring cleanup to help us keep things out of our waste stream primarily. So if you would remember that date, Spring Big Junk and Recycle event. I also want to inform you that earlier today, Bill and I had a discussion concerning the piece of equipment that we have been talking about now for a year and a half to help us in the collection of curbside big trash pickup. on some kind of a regular basis, to be determined at a later time. So, you will be seeing a, request for an expenditure of funds to help us get started in that event. We think it'll be a real good thing, and also a big lead in to what we hope will be, within the very near future, curbside, recycling, possibilities, here in town. With that, Mayor, I'll end my report and stand ready for your questions.
Do we have any questions for our city manager? Having no questions, we'll move on to item 13, that's new business. No new business, we'll move on to 14, that's council discussion. Mr. McCarron.
Well, I think it's a great time for us. I want to thank Larry and the Butzner Gardner folks for coming tonight, and I think we're moving forward in the right direction. I think just another strip mall is not a good answer, and for us to have the foresight to do that, I think is good. I'd like to also thank Candy and the police department for their work in going through the ordinances. Certainly, it's been my experience, a lot of them need a little touch-up regularly, and I think that was more than overdue and time to look at it. And of course, being Irish, I've got to wish everybody happy St. Patrick's Day. And that's it for me, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Russell?
I can't speak, so I'll.
That's never been a problem for me. Councilwoman Yonda?
Well, I'd just like to say, we recently had a city election for the at-large city council position, and I was very disappointed in the turnout of voters. We had less than 900 people vote in the city of Yukon, and that's just not acceptable. I would just like to encourage the citizens of Yukon to get involved in your city government and let your voice be heard. Thank you.
Councilman Alberts?
I think that's an excellent point, and I concur. Couple of things. Thank you, Mayor. One, I have most of the council knows I have a little boy. He's 7. We watched his first soccer game the other day at the Ranch Wood soccer fields. And Neil Taylor, he and his wife Pam's actually the president. He approached me and we talked, and he wanted me to compliment the city, the council, and the people that have helped make the fields out there at Ranch Wood much better. In the past, it's been this time of year, the children get sandblasted from the sand, and I was really surprised. The fields were in great shape, and he wanted me to make sure that I mentioned tonight to the council and to all of those people involved in the community and that work for the city, thank you very much. And it's also interesting to know that there are people like that that are involved in our community that have been at this for over 10 years. They don't even have children that play in the league anymore, and here Pam's the president of it. And Neil's out there helping, be an official, not with the stripes, but walking around and helping and just contributing to the community. So it really is, this is where if Rick Opitz were here, it is a great place to live, but it's very important. And thank you to all those people, so many people who go unnamed that just continue to help and be a big part of the community. Thank you very much. And you guys, thanks for the smart code, Larry, and you all for coming and explaining and spending. I guess this is your 3rd committee that you've been through. So with Ida and then the Planning Commission and now to the City Council, and I appreciate all of your hard work. And I would hope that you would share with the council members. Mayor Smith and I had the benefit of being, the first group that you came to and shared those visuals with. But I think it's very important to share that, and maybe even with the paper, so some of that information, and maybe if it could end up on our website, just so the community can see what a monumental, and I agree with Grayson, the step that this community took forward to preserve that piece of property, just when our idea, just so the community knows, was when you drive by on the highway, I mean, it turns your head, and you're kind of like, what's that? And it makes you want to come and be involved and be part of the community. So a great deal of effort and hard work from you all and the city, and lots of people went into this. This isn't just an item that Rita, I mean, the board, everyone that's on the board and all the members, and I that's why I try not to thank too many people, because I don't want to, it was incredible the amount of effort that went into it, and I think the long-term benefit for our community will outlast anyone in this room. I just think, I truly believe in that. It will make that space, I think, special in our state, and hopefully even in the region. I truly believe that, and that's the goal of this council, and I know that it's your goal. Thank you very much. And then on the tax, it's great to hear that the tax is up 12%. And as we start this development and continue to go forward, every person, like Pam and Neil, all the people that sit here, the people that are here tonight, but everyone that's part of this community can be a part of the community. And how they can be a part of the community is if they need to buy a toothbrush, they can buy it at Walmart in Yukon. It's easy to stop on your way home sometimes from Oklahoma City. There are other Walmarts. But if you want to be a contributor, and not any other way, you're going to pay tax regardless of where you shop. I mean, and I don't know that everyone always realizes that. I mean, they're going to develop stuff along the boundary of our community, and that's fine, and I think that helps create an environment for shopping. But I mean, for those necessities that can be bought outside of the community but exist here, I mean, if we bought those in the community, just that 3 cents contribution goes a long, long ways. So spread that around and share that. I don't know that people always realize, like Grayson says, I mean, we're close to $2 million in a month of revenue. That's phenomenal. So be a part. And again, if Rick were here, you know, we would yell back and forth. What a great place to live. It is a great community, and thank you very much.
Just a couple things. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And for those of us that aren't aware beyond the pitchers of green beer that are available today, St. Patrick's Day is a celebration of patron St. Patrick, bringing Christianity to Ireland, and that's actually where the celebration began. We don't need to overlook that. Want to make everyone aware, it hadn't been mentioned yet, but I'm sure it will be again, on April 18th is DAR, and our Veterans Museum is going to host a welcome home for Vietnam Veterans Appreciation that I think we should all attend and actually show our appreciation. And I hope that our city manager is able to negotiate an acceptable contract for sale of this land that we need for our new chamber office. I think that's going to be another very big step for our business community here in Yukon. With that, we'll move on to item 15, and that's I will consider a motion to recess as a Yukon City Council and convene into executive session to discuss a pending investigation, litigation, or proceeding with the city attorney as provided for in 25 OS 2003, section 307B4.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Smith,
Yes.
Alberts,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
McFerrin.
Yes.
I would also like to invite our city manager to attend the executive session.
That's right.
Item 16, we will consider a motion, or I will consider a motion to adjourn from executive session and reconvene as Yukon City Council.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion? No discussion. Call the roll, please.
Alberts,
Yes.
McFerrin,
Yes.
Yonda,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Russell,
Yes.
This time I would like to read the minutes of the executive session. While in executive session, only the items on the agenda were discussed, no action was taken, and no votes were cast. Item 17, we stand adjourned.